That was a great commercial shoot, I gotta tell you. So that's our love campaign, right? So we are a household cleaning chemicals company. We are looking to sell product, but we also need to make the connection. And the reason we need to make the connection is because we are a challenger brand, right? We're not the billion-dollar company, but the consumers have given us permission to be in their home for 3 generations now. So what we're going to talk about is this journey, the journey that brought us to this campaign. Oh, I suppose I should be carrying this. That would help. And I do everything. I have 2 truths that I live by. Yep, I do. There it is. First one, empathy. Years ago, I worked for a glass company. And we did, glassware for your tabletop, the things that you drink out of, the bakeware. And our competitor was 2 hours north of us, and we're pretty much owned the glass industry in the US. Okay, and we sold to all the major retailers, the Walmarts, the Targets, the department stores, Crate and Barrel, everybody. But we also, in order to fill the factories, we sold custom-made glassware. And someone that approached us was Longaberger. Does anybody know Longaberger? There are a few. Yeah, at one time they were almost $1 billion company, right? So they were all handmade baskets, made in the USA, proudly made in the USA. But they went through a period where they were looking for growth, and they said, well, let's get into the tabletop industry. So they came to us with a glass design. And we also know that they were going to our competitor up north, and they were going to quote on it too. I'm like, well, we've got 2 options here. We can play the price game, or, you know what? I'm looking at this design. This is not who they are. This will not work for them. They are not living up to their brand. So I said, all right, we're going to quote on the design they gave us, but I'm also asking the team, let's design what we think would be right for them. Let's talk to them about their brand, the way we see it as end users and people in the industry, and let's design a glass for them. So, long story short, we got the business. And better yet, we got the business with the design we gave them. So, empathy. Understanding who your customer is, internally, externally, who their users are. Empathy. Empathy is getting at the heart of the message. My second truth. Curiosity. If empathy is the heart, then curiosity keeps it pumping. Curiosity is that constant loop of listening, learning, evolving, and doing it over and over again. And you know what? For marketers, sometimes this is super tough. Why? Because we get super attached. It's difficult to stay objective because we get attached to our creatives, we get attached to our perspectives, we get attached to what we're doing, so it's super difficult to stay objective. But you gotta stay objective if you're gonna keep evolving and finding the answers for your brand, right? So another story on the value of staying curious. Many years ago again, see, I've been around a while. Many years ago, I was a retail buyer. And our GMM, so my boss's boss, said, never ever tell me that weather is the reason your business isn't good. Okay, great. Monday mornings, we would all be like in our cubicles in front of our computers, afraid to turn around because if he walked by, he was going to ask us a question. I would study my numbers in and out. Every store in the chain, every category, where the margins are, what units sold best. I was always prepared with, if he walks by, I'm going to know exactly why my business is or isn't good. That's a discipline I have continued to adopt now for decades. I told you I'm old, right? Don't look too close. So it's a discipline I've adopted for a long time, and I use it today, and it's still a discipline that we use at Jelmar. So that is my second truth, all right? So with those 2 truths, where strategy meets performance. So when we did this campaign, we follow a framework. It's an easy framework. There's nothing here that isn't going to be applicable and something that you probably already do every day on a regular basis. But simple but disciplined, super disciplined audience. You just heard it, I think they were just saying it. I forgot the gentleman's name, but Bliss. They were just saying, right, always know your audience. All right, so where will your product be accepted? Where can you deliver the best message to your customer better than your competitor? We all think our products are good for everyone in every household, but there's still going to be a pocket of individuals where your message will resonate. Then what's the message? Let's craft the best message that will resonate with that consumer. And then lastly, it's deliver. Be where they are, where they will accept your message. Motherhood and apple pie, we all do this. Okay. Starts with knowing your brand and being very honest about who you are. So we're all about tough jobs. Three generations of tough jobs. We were that original as seen on TV brand. The silver tray that gets dipped in, it comes out all super clean. The jug that we have, the jug that you saw in that commercial, is the jug that is probably in your garage or probably in the kitchen cabinets underneath. Your parents used it. You bought it 2 years ago. Oh my goodness, a situation comes up. There's a lot of gunk here, whether it's in your bathroom, in your basement, in your garage. Oh yeah, the jug. Let me go get the jug. All right? But we have evolved since then. So we are a brand that for 10 years we have been awarded. We're the only company that's been awarded the EPA Safer Choice Award. Our formulas have evolved. Yes, it's patented, but it's evolved. We still have the efficacy, but we're safer for your home. So you can do more with it. So that's who we are, and we need to, hence why we ended up with a sexy campaign. We need to evolve our messaging away from only being that tough job. So enter segmentation. So we did a study, and this is a study tailored to us. Everyone would have their own questionnaire, their own things that they would look at, but we did a segmentation asking the right questions that come from the brand essence that we have, and we ended up with 6 different audience groups, 3 of which, honestly, we would be, even though I know they have hard water problems, wouldn't be the most effective use of our spend. 3, that would be relevant, but 2 that were really all in. 2 groups like Aaron that want their house clean, feel good when their house is clean on a regular basis. So these are the groups we came up with. Yours would be different, but it really helps us hone in on a personality. All right, segmentation number 2. So now we know, I want to go back. How do I go back? Probably the red arrow that goes back. There you go. All right. So a little bit about these 2 groups. So they have the same attitude toward cleaning, right? So they like a clean home. They find a clean home less stressful. They find that they can relax when they have a clean home. They see it as something that they do throughout the week on a regular basis. So they shared the same attitudes. The only difference between the 2 was a little bit how they purchase. So we could define and create one message that would really apply to both of those groups. Okay, so now we know their attitude towards cleaning. So now let's talk about, well, what do they do with it? So enter another study that goes into need states. How do you use the product? How do you clean in your house? How many products do you carry around? What's really important when you're thinking about the need, the cleaning need? Okay, good. We got a good aha here. So what we learned is we, again, broke this up into 6 groups, 6 different types of cleaning in the home. Some people just tidy up before somebody's coming. Some people just, dust a little bit every now and then. Some people really don't care. Well, what we learned is that almost half of the cleaning occasions in the home, almost half, 45% to be exact, 45% of cleaning occasions in the home are relevant for our products. I'm like, ooh, that's nice. So great. So we've got the households figured out. We've got 45% of the cleaning occasions figured out. Okay, good. This is good. So when you understand, when you're working on the audience, so this was the audience portion, right? Oh, I do have to look at my notes every now and then. All right. So when we're looking at the audience, great segmentation will tell us if there is a strategic fit. Our strategic fit was the shift from occasional tough jobs to everyday tough jobs. That's what the 45% told us, right? So the emotional relevance, a clean home means less stress. Great, love it. The actionable opportunity, well, what we learned was that our product can be used for more things than we originally thought. It's not just the jug that needs to be in the garage for the extra, that really thick gunk in your home. All right, so that was the audience. Now, getting to the fun part. So the fun part is, well, okay, we know it works. How do we deliver a message that is not just the functional benefits? Like I said, we have patented products, great formulas, love it, fine. We know it cleans. We know it's very efficacious. We know we're the, well, of course, we think we're the best in the industry. But so what? How are we going to make that emotional connection? So let's go ask them. So we did another survey. So on this survey, we got a little more into the, how do you really feel when your house is clean? You know, do you clean with your spouse? Do you guys share responsibilities? So we got into a little bit deeper. So what did we learn? A couple of the things that we learned. 97% feel better when chores are shared. You want to share the chores with your partner. It feels good. It's nice. You know, you don't want to do it all by yourself. But here was the fun one. 61% actually felt a little more attracted to their partner, a little turned on when they saw them cleaning. Well, now that's something we can have a lot of fun with, and that's what we did. And why did it work? It works because it's real. It's real. You can identify it. We did it in a humorous way, right? But it's real people, real life, real messes, with a little bit of a humor twist. But you can identify with it, and that's why it's working. It's a little disruptive, and we have to be a little disruptive because, like I said, we aren't the billion-dollar brand. We aren't. But thank goodness the consumer has given us permission to be in their homes for quite a few decades. We needed the guts to show up a little bit different. And I got to tell you, I still, every time these play, again, you know, I'm not 30. And when we play, and this is the last commercial shoot we just went on, I'm like cringing a little bit. And you're going to get a hint of it at the end. And I'm showing you the safer of the two. Because I'm like, you guys cannot make me stand up there with that other commercial. I just won't be able to do it. So, but I trust in the team. I do think they're funny. I do think they resonate, even though I'm not 30 anymore. I remember when I was, and I loved it when my husband, I've been married a long time, I loved it when my husband would help, right? So it's real. It's real, and we're looking to be a little disruptive. So when it comes to messaging, when we do the deep dive, what does it give us? It gives us a message that resonates. So the other statistic I didn't tell you was that 80% feel like it's easier to be romantic if your house is clean. See, I see heads nodding, like I'm totally the same. I used to travel Monday through Fridays, and I'd get home on Friday night, and I'm telling you, the last thing I wanted to walk into was a dirty house. And yeah, let's face it, I did. And then, what do you think, you know, what kind of weekend do you think he wants to have? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you just got it, like just, if the house was clean, please. Like it feels like such an easy thing to ask for. So if you have a message that resonates, and I think we've got that. Sharing household chores, the human side of it is sharing household chores feels good. And then the creative side of it, it gave us the opportunity to have a little bit of fun. All right, so where did it go? Where did it take us? So that's the 30-second spot I'm not showing you at the end. The media company put hints of it in this. I'm like, okay, great. So, but it's super fun. Super fun. All right, so, and then we worked with the Love is Blind for Valentine's Day. We worked with the Love is Blind crew. And it was funny because we don't tell them what to do, but they had seen the spots. And it was so fun to watch them try to recreate the spots in their home. And one gentleman that I loved, I don't know Love is Blind. Our people on the marketing team, when the agency suggested, you want to hook up with Love is Blind? I'm like, who are they? And of course, the marketing team, there were individuals on the team that knew. And I'm like, okay, sure. But one gentleman did such a beautiful job. He cleaned the bathroom and put roses out for her. And of course, she comes home, not like she didn't know they were being taped, but they taped themselves. But I thought, oh, that's so sweet. It was so sweet. So that really worked well for us for Valentine's Day. Okay, so we got audience and message. Now we got to get into the nuts and bolts. We got to get into delivery. And again, we are the brand that we were the as seen on TV, right? And that we had a captive audience then, right? This is when there were 8 channels to watch, and you didn't have a phone. You watched them all. Now we have 200 channels. We have streaming. We have social media. And even when you need the how-to, what we were really good at and known for was that before and after. Well, honestly, nowadays, if you want to know how to do something, you go to YouTube. You don't need to wait for our commercial. So we needed a different kind of message. So delivery, when you look at it, funnel, everybody's been talking about the funnel, right? But I'm going to put a little bit of a different twist on it. I don't have all the stages. If you're in the direct-to-consumer business, you have more stages than 3. But for us, from a B2B point of view, it's how are we going to get into their heads? We're going to get into their heads with the love campaign. How are we going to get them interested? We talk about the efficacy, right? And then, of course, when we get to the bottom of the funnel, we're talking about Ibotta and other conversion tactics like everybody else does. But in all of this process, the other layer, and remember, I like numbers, so with each one, I'm like, okay, which platforms are we going to use? What platforms work best at each, right? Pinterest is great because they go to Pinterest with intent. TikTok is the thumb-stopping platform. That's awareness. We got to talk to them up here. Retail shopper marketing, well, that's a conversion. We got different tactics there. So I start with lining up all the different platforms for each one, and there's some things we learn. You'll see that on the next slide. Influencers. Influencers can be, awareness or traffic driving. Then ROAS. ROAS is what it is. To me, it's a signal. It's directional information. It's not take it to the bank. We all know that. Attribution, we go through several studies every year we spend a lot of money on in-depth attribution of all the tactics to try to get to a ROAS. But it's directional. You should only use this directionally. And this is for us. And there are so many other variables in here. You can look at these numbers and they would be totally different for you. We already have a new study that we're just about to get that I'm sure will be different than this. We learn from these though. And what do we learn? Well, a couple things that we did learn is Pinterest for us, because we did Pinterest for both in the awareness level and the traffic level. We learned for us, again, your story could be totally, totally different. For us, it was a better traffic tactic. We also learned that audio bombed. Like, what a waste of time and energy and money. And it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to develop an audio campaign. I don't know how many times you have to hear the same sentence with different inflection and different speed in order for it just to fit just right, only to find out that within 2 weeks of after you launch it was a total waste of time. But that's all right. That's all right. For everything that doesn't work, there are a few things that did work. So that is the measurement. The other thing I do, all right, so I drive people crazy because I've got the 3 funnels, how much money are we spending in each, how much money are we going this way, what are the results. The other thing I do on a monthly basis is I say, all right, where was our spend? Where was our click-through? Where were the video completions? What's the cost per click? And I look for trends. I always just look for trends. and then I challenge the agency and I say, okay, it looks like we're spending a lot more per click, and then they come back at me with, well, the ROAS is this. I'm like, I get it, but we're going to introduce this information too, because we have to maximize our dollars. And I'm saying it for the third time. We're a challenger brand. We cannot afford to waste any dollars. We spend a good amount of money, but we aren't like the big guys. So every dollar needs to count. So I'm consistently looking at every piece of analysis. I guess I did talk a little longer than I thought. All right. I'm going to skip that. So that's the summary. So when this all comes together, like, whoops, I'm watching that clock there, and yep. When I was in my room last night, I was under time. I don't know. I figured out how to fill it up. All right. So going back to the truths. So the truths, right? Empathy and curiosity, super important to me. That's just how I've lived throughout my career. Working through the framework, and when you put this all together, you do get a breakthrough. Super appreciative of the consumers that have given us permission to be in their home. Our president keeps telling me how pleased he is and how happy he is that we can go, again, we're not the big guys, but that we can go into almost any home throughout the country. And we're there. We're there. We are in every retailer that you can imagine. We're that little bottle sitting there looking for friends and neighbors that have CLR on them too. We'll get there. We'll get there. But this was our breakthrough. This was our breakthrough for reaching a new generation, extending our message, and we're super proud of it because at the heart of it, so what are we doing next? What we're doing next is you're going to see a 30-second spot that is not final, by the way, so the lighting's not there. You're getting it before it's being released. We're looking at new platforms. We're looking for new places to be where there's maybe a little less noise. We're also looking to extend our connection with the consumer through I like to look at the funnel as an hourglass, honestly. To me, it doesn't end with the transaction. It starts building. After you have the transaction, the sand builds back. You got to build those relationships up with the consumer. So we're going to be doing some things there too. So that's next for us. So at the heart of it all, we are a third generation, woman-owned business with a passion for efficacious products. We make them as safe as possible. And honestly, if maybe I had a third truth, the third truth is be you, be authentic, be your brand. I don't look to chase the competition. I could never. I want us to be the best we can be for who we are. The world is abundant. There's enough business out there for everybody. There are enough consumers out there for everybody, and we just are happy to be a part of it. So we're a preview. I'm doing it. Look, I got 1 minute and 2 seconds. All right. So a preview of our next spot that is going to be released. This is the safer of the two.
I want to know your deepest desire.
Oh, okay.
I like to watch. You're clean. Scrub it.
So
Thank you so much. Jackie, thank you so much. Are we on? There we go. Jackie, thank you so much. Chore play might be my favorite play on words that I've heard in a very long time. So I'm going to have to figure out how to weave that back into my vocabulary. Questions for Jackie? Yeah, look at all these hands.
Hello, Kevin Nemacki with Synergistic. Jackie, you did a great job. And so a quick comment and then a question. And my comment is basically, you've done such a great job in this case study of using insights up front. I just want to mention that because so many brands tend to kind of skip that up front in an effort to try to go quickly. And it's clear that the work you've done is effective because you did a lot of insight work. So my question is actually about the insight. This may be obvious to people, but I feel like I have to ask, did you have debate around if you wanted to target men or women with this insight and who this message was really for, if you were trying to trigger something in women or educate men a little bit, seeing as this is a product that might be used by a different person that might buy it? My question is about that debate, if that happened and what that was like.
Actually, we have a very strong male audience because of our reputation of being for tough jobs. We have very strong business in the DIY channel, so men know us already. So this is reaching to the younger generation male. So it is for both. It's a great question. It is for both, but it is an introduction and permission for the next generation male. I can't see anybody.
Hey Jackie, Nolan Johnson with Grocery TV. I'm curious, because of how edgy this commercial was it hard to sell it internally that this is the direction your brand wanted to go? I know a lot of brands, have visions of doing something like this, but it's hard to get internal buy-in when you wanna do it.
It had its moments, but okay, yes, and I'm going to say yes and no, because so this is our second campaign with the agency. So the first one we really leaned into our equity in, it was called Been There, Outdone That. I still love it. I still love it because it does show more of uses, because we were very accustomed in our history to show use cases. But what helped us move on to more of an edgy and an awareness campaign versus how the product is used were the numbers. And it really, numbers, you know me, I like numbers. So it really was looking into how people are getting their information now on the before and afters. It's not the way it used to be. So once I was able to show, and you should really see how, so third generation, okay, dad is still alive, so the daughter now owns the business, right? So she's the third generation. Her dad is still around, probably the toughest sell, because very much, he and his father started the business and very much aware of how it used to be. But the numbers showed it, and I was able to, so it worked with a little bit of, conversation. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, you move on. But it's working. So thank goodness.
A little bit, right, Jackie?
What's that?
You had to warm him up a little bit, right, Jackie?
A little bit, and I get it, because even I sit here, and I'm not in my 80s, and I sit here and I look and go, oh my gosh, please. So everybody at the office is like, you've got to let me know how everybody reacts. Oh, we are out of time. You've got to let me know how everybody reacts, because we're all like, is this going to be okay? So I'm glad you laughed, so thank you.
Oh, wait, Jackie, wait. We have one more question back here in the creepy corner where Ian's sitting by himself.
Okay.
Hey, Ian Wishingrad from Three Wishes Cereal. That is an excellent campaign. Like, absolutely.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell them.
Well, I mean, you're right. In like CLR, my parents, it's there. It's always there. We all know it. And then that's like what every agency wants to do. Edgy, but not too inappropriate. Like, so let me ask you, the numbers, which has been out for a while, how much better is that doing than percentage-wise, assuming you've, whatever the one was before?
So, okay, so we're a family-owned business, so I really can't say, but I can tell you it's good enough that we shot 2 more commercials. How about that? Okay.
Jackie, thank you so much.